I just feel like this roster fits more so what Missoula wants to do. He wasn't the same defensive minded coach as Emi Udoka was necessarily. I think he was more so focused on offense, which could be a contributor to the drop that the Boston Celtics took. So mentioning things like Kristaps Porzingis, who is probably a lesser version of Robert Williams as far as a rim protector and physical presence on the inside, but he can stretch the floor, which adds to the offensive side where Robert Williams was just scoring around the paint. He couldn't really, I mean, he didn't have a shooting touch or a shooting type game. And then Jrue Holiday, who we just said we both feel is a better overall player if you're considering both sides of the ball. We obviously know what Marcus Smart can do defensively. I mean, he just won Defensive Player of the Year 2 seasons ago, but you also add that offensive piece and skill set that Jrue does provide. So I just think that this roster fits better for what they have when you're looking not only on the court, but also on the sidelines coaching this team. And I just feel like this keeps them in the conversation as far as teams that we feel can win because they didn't just continue to keep the same team and they decided to go after a move, which I feel like will combat what Milwaukee just did. We mentioned the previous success that Jrue had against Dame in a playoff setting. So knowing that there's a good chance y'all two can meet up in the playoffs, getting Jrue gives you some sort of possible answer for Dame. We know Dame can go off regardless of who's guarding him. But we have a veteran, savvy defender that can also give it to you on the offensive end. Not only do we have to think about this matchup as far as what Jrue can do defensively, but all of those stats that we brought up and speaking about Jrue's ability to score inside, he'll be able to punish Dame because we know that Milwaukee has players outside of just Dame and outside of just Giannis, but they did just lose a guy like Grayson Allen, who was a guy that would compete defensively. They have other guys on the wing, but you're talking about just having this offensive ability to spread the floor, pick and roll with three different players, drive and kick with multiple players. That's going to force Milwaukee to guard. You're talking about Dame having to guard. You're talking about having Giannis to guard on the perimeter. Brook Lopez is going to have to step out some. Chris Middleton is going to have to defend because you have all of these offensive weapons on the Boston Celtics who can also compete defensively too, be better two ways than Dame, Chris Middleton, and people like that on the Bucks. So I feel like this move also helps you in that head-to-head matchup with just you and Milwaukee too. So I feel like this move is just more about getting Boston better, but also being able to combat what the Milwaukee Bucks have gotten in Dame. And I feel like this was, like we keep saying, is a great move once again.
When you look at that matchup between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics, the Boston Celtics have a player that can guard Giannis as best as any player possibly can. Obviously, there are a few in the league, only a few in the league, and you're not stopping Giannis. Like, let's be honest, you're not stopping any superstar that's in the league, but to guard them the best that you possibly can, Al Horford has historically done a really good job on Giannis. Now, over the course of the past years, dating back to the bubble, that's when they started meeting up around that time. That's when they started actually going head to head during the playoffs. Horford was guarding him then. That's when the wall started coming up and
Yeah, the
all of
wall
those
became
things. Yeah, the wall became a thing. And Giannis has broken down that wall with a lot
yeah.
of his play over the past few years. But even when they matched up a few years ago, Al Horford was one of those main defenders that guarded Giannis, and he continuously does a really good job on being able to guard Giannis and make it as tough as possible. Again, obviously, Giannis is still going to get his, and having a player like Dame is going to make it even tougher to guard him. But the
Definitely.
Boston Celtics in that head-to-head matchup do have a player that they can put on Giannis and make it as tough as they possibly can in Al Horford. So now, just going off of pretty much what you said with Jrue, he again, he makes the Boston Celtics, and they were already one of the top two teams in the East, but it just makes it even better. And I'm just so excited for this year, man. Like
Me too.
thinking about this matchup, and you still have a lot of really good teams in the East, but right now today, Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, those are the two teams that we're all going to be really excited to see. And hopefully the season goes how we would like for it to go, and they meet up in the Eastern Conference Championship or something like that. But
Yeah.
when you look at the player to player, going back to Marcus Smart versus Jrue Holiday, and again, Marcus Smart is a great player, defensive player of the year, all that good stuff. But I do think that Jrue Holiday is a better defender. And that's saying something because Marcus is a great defender, like one of the best in the league. You know, Marcus is a little more pesty, or more of a pest on defense, getting up under
Yeah.
people's skins, you know, taking charges, that kind of thing. Jrue does take charges too, but Jrue
He's just
is a
solid.
little more solid. Yeah, he's a little more
Yeah.
solid, and he has the quickness to get around screens and also the strength to get through screens. He also has the quickness to stay with a lot of people, and he does disrupt a lot of things, especially people with a live dribble or getting in passing lanes. But I just feel like Jrue is going to be more solid, and it's being nitpicky, but I do think Jrue is a better defender than Marcus Smart. So even on that end, I think it's an upgrade. And then, like you mentioned, offensively, it's going to be an upgrade too. So it is going to be fun to watch, man. I'm really excited. I feel like this team fits together really well. They complement each other, and they will be able to figure things out. Now, you know, starting off the season, Milwaukee just adding a big piece in Damian Lillard, the Boston Celtics just adding a big piece with Jrue Holiday, and then also Kristaps. It's going to take them a little bit of time over the course of the season to actually get things going and figure things out. So don't be surprised if either of these teams get out to some sort of a slow start, but the fit with the Boston Celtics, I think having Jrue Holiday there is going to be a big upgrade at the point guard position. Having somebody that is a calming presence at that position can get the team in the right situations down the stretch and also throughout the course of a game or the course of a series or the course of a season. And just how he's going to be able to complement Jason Tatum's game, or he's going to be able to complement Jaylen Brown's game. Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Derek White, all of those players are just going to be able to complement each other very well. So I'm excited for it, man. Jrue is a big time player.